morning, buongiorno, and welcome to Jewellery Fair in Sydney. I don't know, who joined yesterday or not, but I'd like to wrap up a little bit and maybe, kind of give you a little intro of what we are doing today, connecting it to yesterday also workshop, and also who missed it can kind of, have an idea of what was discussed. I have an accent. If you have a problem with my accent, I don't take offense if you say, can you please repeat it? So I don't have a problem with that. So today we're going to do Jewelry Design Direction 2023-24. Very often people is asking me if I predict. We do not predict anything. We are trend forecaster. Basically, simply said is we are analysts. We collect data, statistic in numbers, semiotic data being images, and based on the collection of data, analyzing data, we are able to basically create reports and make projection. So that's what we really do. So we don't predict anything. Is a system, is a methodology. Foresight is a way to forecast future upcoming scenarios. How do we do this? So yesterday, just to give you a little bit of feedback about what happened, we talked about consumer culture and now consumer and socio-cultural environment, geopolitical events, wars, economy, climate change is affecting our daily life and directly and indirectly also the jewelry industry. So when we talk about macro trends, we talk about trends that they have an effect up to 5 years, even 5 years, and they affect our lifestyle because, as mentioned, anticipated, they are macro trends. They're basically associated to, again, climate change, gender fluidity, population aging. These effect, these phenomena have an effect on consumers and therefore on the jewelry industry because consumer may be purchasing different products versus something else. But today we are going to zoom in on jewelry directions and basically what's happening in jewelry, what has been happening, and in order to understand what's coming up, we have to understand what's happening now. So for sure, digital age and digitization has strongly changed the scenario of not only jewelry design, not only production and technology and innovation, but also changed the mentality of consumers. Yes, you are based in Australia, but you are constantly on social media. You're constantly online. So there is a hybrid culture. We are becoming more a global world, even though this is a beautiful place to be. I love Australia. Sydney is magnificent. But more and more Gen Z and millennials, they are being native in of course, with technology. They have more of a global perspective that includes, once again, values. So the way we are, slowly but surely, we are changing. We look very similar in taste because we view things, we see things, we perceive things in a similar way. This is a very fascinating time in history. And so, once again, when I was talking about digital age, the value in the aesthetic codes also, they are changing and they have changed. So let's look at the themes in terms of design, what's happening. Now, of course, we give names to these, let's say, trends, which are micro trends, they are not macro trends. The difference between macro trends and micro trends, macro embrace the whole spectrum of our lifestyle versus micro trends are zooming in our sector, being the jewelry sector. Macro trends, when we are including into lifestyle, for instance, Being vegan is a macro trend. Fitness and wellness, being aware of the environment, the planet is a macro trend. Hoops and studs are not necessarily a macro trends, but are a micro trends. But macro trends affect our industry as well. That's why it's important that we understand the whole scenario of how macro trends are affecting our industry as well and design. So I'm trying to give you here not just the result of the research, but I'm also trying to give you the perspective of how we end up to identify this direction within our industries. So from fluid core to sentimental story, organica, and gamification, they are a reflection of change. So again, names are just a way of coding and kind of classifying these directions. What's important is you connect what's happening around and how it's going to basically represent your consumer and the values, the personal values of someone that is in front of us at the retail store or as a manufacturer. So fluid core, of course, we are aware of fluidity and gender fluidity, but today we are talking about gender fluid, but also a fluid era. We are an ageless society. Life expectation is expected around, in the 80s and, early 90s. People is very young and youthful until they're like 70s and 80s, between aesthetic medicine, plastic surgery, medical evolution, but also values. People remarry, late in life, they start new career, they change, they move, they travel. It's no longer, so that's why when I hear often, because the young generation, today people in their 50s is considered young. So 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s is no longer. In fact, consumers now are identified as not only demographic, meaning the years when they were born, but psychographic, means their personal value, how they feel, their life that they embrace. And this is very important that you understand that as a retailer, as a designer, as a manufacturer, because today you might have a consumer, woman or man, in their 40s or 50s, that they are very youthful and they're going to spend money in a style that you would associate with someone in their 20s, but maybe they're willing to spend 3 times as much for the same bracelet, okay? So that is very important to understand what I call the demographic and psychographic. So let's quickly talk about, before I get into more specific about product, and in this particular case, the fluid core is basic product, to the next level, is what was called in the past core product to the next level, okay? And the next level includes design, performance, and of course, performance thanks to technology and innovation. Consumer nowadays, they are wearing whatever they feel and help them, enables them to express themselves. So Gen Z is up to 26 years old. So when we're talking about Gen Z, they don't have enough money to spend because they are in their early 20s and in the mid 20s. So the price range they are able to spend is limited compared to millennial that they go from 27 up to 42. So this is very important to understand the values of and the expression of very early Gen Z, millennial, and then we get into Gen Xers. The Gen Xers are 47 to 57. So why, do you need to remember all these names? Well, it's important that you understand that we are not stuck in a generation. We are not stuck in an age. Consumers come in a spectrum, and nowadays there is a huge potential in selling different styles to different people. So when we're getting into fluid core under this design direction, we are identifying geometry, lean lines, and micro chains. So now, as you can see, I like this chart because I want to show you how we organize the direction. We are talking about an introduction. We are highlighting consumer, Gen Z, millennial, and Gen Xers, actually. You have a little booklet in the chairs, which is an extract. Then it's helping you kind of recap what we are talking about today. And so you can take notes, or you can just take the booklets. Materials, stones. And as you can see, this is everyday basics. Is genderless, is balanced, is simple design and clean silhouettes. It's fluid, meaning there is no a time to wear this jewelry. Those are every day, all the time. The key design elements and material, macro links, but also micro chains. It's very interesting because this type of jewelry are collectible. They enable consumer to mix and match, to wear either one piece or to create a maximalist effect by layering. Layering is a very important way of styling. Let me just do a little stop right here on styling. Today is not just about the piece of jewel itself, but is all the components that are enabling the consumer to express themselves. Layering is very important, and by layering I mean being able to buy jewelry and put them together, stack them together in a way that is very personal. So the layering fact, the layering styling way, it's important because creates a collector of your jewelry. So consumer today mix and match precious and non-precious, pearls and diamonds, watches with cotton. So this is very important, men and women. It could be with stackable rings, with bracelets, with pendants. So the Pandora phenomenon of collecting, but there are many other designers that they have created styles that they are easy to basically collect. Why is this popular? Once again, because it's enabling consumers to create their own style. So it's not about the designer that just sells, but becomes a co-designing partnership between the consumer and the designer, the jeweler, the manufacturer. So those are concepts and ideas that they're very important for both manufacturers, jeweler, to understand the concept. I'm going to make some examples from other sectors, like the clothing sector. Zara. If you go online and you go in their app, just to make an example, you are picking one item and they're suggesting what to add and how you can mix and match other elements to create a look. So that's what it's very important nowadays. It's not about just selling a pair of earrings, a matching set. The new direction in sales is also selling individual earrings rather than matching sets. Because sometimes women and men, they have many piercing in their ears, and they want to mix and match, and they're able to collect. So this is very important to have this open perspective, because this is a business opportunity. So creating too many frames is limiting our business. So color combinations. In this particular direction, as you can see, we are more traditional in a way compared to upcoming direction that I show you, where gold, either yellow, pink, or white, are strong because this is considered a basic, the fluid core, the basic to the next level. What makes the jeweler, this direction hyper jewels, as we call it, is about the performance of jewelry. Technology today is bringing flexibility, lightweight, Nothing looks the way it is. So every piece now, technology is creating different twists to product, and sometimes this product like tubing and flexible tubing, snakes, they are springs. They're very, very exciting. Earrings, as you can see, they're basic, but they're basic with a twist. They can change, and often they are fluid lines. Diamonds, they are now an everyday item. It's not necessarily only special, it's not only for engagement, but it's more, in this particular category, it's everyday, lightweight, small carats, but it's luxury for every day. Pearls, I mean, we are lucky that we are in Australia, and pearls are very strong in the market, not only here, but worldwide. Pearls have been reinterpreted from America to China to Japan to Europe. They are fun, they are no longer grandma style, they are fashionable, they are for men and women, they are interesting, they are mixed with chains and tubing, and they are fun, and once again, they can be layered. But watch on color. Color, and now we are going to see the explosion of colors that has been happening since the pandemic, because one of the important reactions of the pandemic brought color, the wish for life. And color in this particular category of directions, they're more pastel, the blues and the pinks. Of course, now the big trend of Barbie has brought an explosion of pink. This is not going to last for a long time, but pink has always been there, but right now it's very, very fashionable. It's going to stay here for at least 6 months. Of course, I wouldn't personally invest in just pink stones unless they're not pink diamonds, which are, of course, timeless for whoever can afford it. But in this world of fluid core, black and white metal is very important, also because, as we're going to see it, black and white also is good for men. We're going to see it, but it's important that when we are looking at this jewelry, even though they're simple, the design is very sleek, it's very modern, it's very to the next level. So it's not banal, it's classic, it's timeless, but it's contemporary. It's very close to the concept of architecture. We call it geometrics. It's closer to reflecting digital era. So simplicity and lightweight with diamonds, almost floating on air, it's not banal. And again, industrial and gender neutral. Men are wearing more and more jewelry, either are gold and leather, or wood, or black metal, oxidated precious or titanium, diamonds, pearls. So even though you might not feel ready yourself yet, but don't be a follower, try to be a leader by starting to implement this vision, because the consumer is ready for it. And again, as you can see, jewelry, very strong. I mean, it's like there is not enough jewelry for men nowadays. Again, black diamonds. And this is an important note. Men and jewelry, it's not new in history. Aristocratic family, nobles always wore jewelry, but not only. In many cultures, from India to Africa to England, you know, rings and pins, and they always wore it. So nowadays, luckily, you know, new generations are more comfortable about wearing jewelry, and not just they're buying it, they are layering it. A very important note on links and chains. Chains are back strong from like few seasons now. And by chains, we mean many links from Byzantine to Grumet, Figaro, but small or chunky links. A chain seems to represent a fluid, a gender fluid component or piece of jewel. Then as a designer or as a manufacturer, you can definitely customize and personalize by adding links with diamonds, with pearls, with special clasp. But chains are layerable. Chains are very strong. Now they have new performance, as I mentioned, because they are either lightweight or elastic, or they are transformable jewels that they can be detached, locks that can mix and match, you can make it long. So it's becoming a high performance piece of jewel. Now we're getting into the second theme, and the second theme is what we call sentimental stories. So yesterday we talked about heritage and we talked about future legacy. In the world of global era and global culture, of course there is also a reaction to learning and knowing more about our own roots. Where are we from? Not just belonging in a nation where you guys decided to be, in this particular case Australia, but could be your family roots, or maybe whatever. But by roots is also going back to history, craftsmanship. We are losing craftsmen. People is no longer able to work on filigree, on enamel, or the craftsmen that we had 50 years ago, 100 years ago, we are losing. There is really now a moment in history when we are recuperating and we are trying to learn more. So from China to Turkey, Italy, South Africa, Middle East, we are working on digging up, recuperating our history and our knowledge. So this is being transferred in jewels, in jewelry, but also at the same time a piece of emotion. My grandmother, my ancestor, or something, a trip, a travel that I've done somewhere that is very precious. So sentimental story, it is about our culture, our family, but also something that is meaningful to us. It doesn't have to be public, so jewels more and more are really showing who we are, from letters and messages to zodiac sign to charms, that they're really symbols, talisman of where we went or who we are or what we love. It's something that is appreciated from very young folks to, as you can see, Gen Z, baby boomers. So there is not really a limitation on age. Something that is very personal and sentimental is ageless. So what are the design elements? Of course, symbolic multi-charms and zodiac and initials and letters. People like to say their name, or they want to say a message, like, when they are on social media, this is who I am. In the world of digital age, people want to, it's so overwhelming that we want to be who we are. We want to scream our name. We want to be present. And no matter what, we do everything to do it. So lettering, also coins, patterns, but also materials such as enamel is back strongly. Precious and non-precious material. But let's go into product. As you can see, this is very, I would say, commercial. Let's use this beautiful word. There is nothing to be ashamed of. Commercial is good. Commercial in this particular case is readable by consumer. It is something that consumer like and appreciate. No matter where you are, you can be in Australia, you can be, and really mixing and matching large medallion or small medallions is very important, the multi-charms. Zodiac, even though it's something that never goes out of style, is being reinterpreted. Either it is Western or Chinese. We are always interested and fascinated by ancient culture. So ancient symbols, they are great inspirations for designers in general. Lucky charms, whatever it is a lucky charm, from lockets to key, to also special little pendants. But also, like I said, messages and letters are very back, and I would say also, like the Victorian little portrait, miniature portrait, there is a great collectible community on mix and matching vintage pieces with modern pieces. There are designers from, like I give you an example, Lulu Frost, she's based in New York, she upcycled pieces from, you know, flea markets, and what they do is they take these pieces apart from old jewelry and remount it and reinterpret it with new modern component, gemstones and diamonds. Because it's kind of, a piece of jewel becomes more meaningful when there is an history. It's like fragments of people's life. It could be your life, it could be somebody else. It's like an historical residence. When you're buying an historical residence or you go in an historical residence, there is something magic there. There is something that brings a different atmosphere to the environment, and same is for jewelry. Color-centric, color, very important and very good for you. Opals are very much in trend. Why opals? Because opals reflect color, not only its own color as a gemstones, but the environment. It adapts. It is, and color is light, and light is energy. So opals is kind of a rainbow of colors that really resemble and is being associated to many to other gemstones. So I think this is a very good element for Australian designers, the use of opals, but also minerals in general. In this world of, like I mentioned, black and gold, there are some interesting color association in jewelry, and once again, some of these are also man-oriented, some rings, but also black and gold is very iconic. Men's jewelry again. So men's jewelry is no longer just a passing trend. It's here to stay, it's very strong. So don't think about, no longer think about ages. I don't think about men or women. Think in a fluid way, open-minded. The thing that you should and we should think about, it is price points. Yes, it's important to understand our market positioning. Are we on the medium segment? Are we medium low? Are we medium high? Are we high? This is very important, the positioning. So if you're asking me, is this good, whatever you're presenting, Paola, today, is this good for me? Is this good for everybody? And my answer will be no. Because it's important that you connect your audience, your consumer, your sociocultural, the sociocultural environment, the location where you are. So maybe out of these directions, I would suggest you to pick some directions versus others. It depends on your consumers. And the reason why I'm trying to explain to share all these informations, because I would like you to be able to become an analyst yourself, to observe the market from an analytic perspective, not just based on what we like. Because what we like may not be good for the market, for our audience. So what I like may not be popular. But as a professional, I have to detach myself from the audience, and I have to make sure that I'm delivering to you what you need. So organica, or organic design. Organica is, of course, is a poetic license for design inspired by nature, and nature, we all know that it's something that is always, let's call it in fashion, but in a way, how is nature developing and evolving in terms of design? Of course, climate change is becoming, it has brought more awareness from younger generation to older generation about nature, but also the beauty and the uniqueness of gemstones and minerals. Who said that only white, perfect diamonds are beautiful? Why not inclusion? Why not only perfect emeralds and perfect topaz? Why not something that is unique? Why not a rock? Why not an emerald? Why not something that is perfectly imperfect? So beauty and aesthetics have changed not only in people, not only in way we are communicating in our marketing campaign. People comes in all forms and shapes, and so is nature, and so is gemstones, and so is diamonds. And this diversity is enriching design and is inspiring makers. Leaves and fauna and molten gold and rough gemstones. But look at the beauty, look at the modernity of, what it seems imperfect, but becomes textures and patterns and art to wear. As you can see, everybody's wearing it, everybody feels it, because it makes us closer to the planet. And so key design elements, of course, are forever flowers and blossom and fauna, and also, as I mentioned, rough gold, but also oxidated metal and organic material. But also this element, what we call hyper nature, being nature that is being kind of magnified with technology. But let's look at, at pieces. I love these pieces, the sliced diamonds, which is part of Indian culture for centuries. Sliced diamonds are beautiful. Many designers are using it. They have inclusion associated with pearls or encrusted in other diamonds, rock crystals, anything. So I've seen beautiful stones here, and this is something very big all over the world. So gemstones not only are appreciated for their uniqueness, but there is some kind of research in the energy that stones can give. The Indian culture, for instance, is very strong in associating gemstones to their zodiac, to their energy. It's interesting because this holistic perspective is very much appreciated by younger generation. Maybe in this particular case, it's set for niche market of, let's say, Gen Xers. Gen Z and millennial are very much attracted by holistic perspective. So even jewels, they are very holistic, they are personal, they become spiritual carrier of something, of meaning, of energy. Foliage. So foliage, as you can see, is either macro or is as a pattern. But also fauna, fascinating fauna. Floral, forever is very, very strong all over. Fashion has incorporated bejeweled detail in accessories, in clothing. Pearls, in this case, baroque pearls, cashew pearls. Pearls are in fashion. So either they are, bangled bracelet or turquoise or multi-layer pearls. I would say that you should do it, and they're popular not only in Australia but worldwide. I would suggest you to also start working on asymmetric earrings, not only always matchy. I've seen a lot of matching sets. I'm sure they're popular in Australia, but just be on the watch that more and more consumer will ask to also purchase individual styles. They may be part of the same collection, so they can also mix it with their own taste. Gold, almost like rough, this element of unfinished, of nugget, of something that is rough, is very organic. And again, men's jewelry. gold-centric, men love gold, and please, it's important that you have it with gemstones, without gemstones, always that rough element, but I would say also is a concept of gender fluidity, because some of these pieces will be worn from men and women, really. This is another, it's last, but it's a very interesting theme. It's global. I don't know in Australia how much it's popular yet, but color at this level, such a strong explosion, is global nowadays. It's global. Color, it is either colored metal, meaning gold, titanium, aluminum, sterling silver. Color it's everywhere. It is enamel, it is PVD, it is gemstones, it is synthetic resins associated with gold, and I'm talking about 18K as well, diamonds. So the color rainbow or tone on tone is very big. China, Japan, North America. Now a little note, where is color is coming from? We call the name gamification. Gaming, as you know, is very strong, and it comes from the world of digital. But the world of digital, we call it digital palette, has affected strongly this world. Also, because of social media, nowadays color is capturing very quickly our attention. So in marketing nowadays, bright colors, yellow bright, neon color, they're very important. Either could be one color or a combination. So this is important because digital marketing and communication has changed and is affected, of course, also stores as well, jewelry. So this is a macro trend, it's not just a micro trend. And here once again, as you can see, macro link, but also hooks and locks. Locks have become almost kind of a big gadget. Marla Haron in the US has built an entire collection on locks, and basically you can exchange and add chains and remove it. And the chains, the locks, honestly, there are key rings, just done in gold. They were like old keychains model that she did it in yellow gold, and has become an entire collection and phenomenon to basically transform into bracelet. And so transformable jewelry and everything then is thought out as a machine, as something that can transform itself. It is what we call, once again, hyper jewels. Bright colors, letter and scripts, but also messaging like emoji, enamel, glass beads, a transformation. So as you can see, bright enamel, those are designer, you can check them online, you can scout them, you have it on your booklet, and this is global, from Italy to Korea, to Japan, to the Middle East, and I'm sure also some Australian designers are doing it. It might not be mainstream here yet, but it's coming. As you can see, Tiffany, open bangle. So this is an interesting, direction that you might consider. I'm not advising when there are things that you are not ready yet in your store. I'm not advising you to take it in. I'm advising you to look at it, to consider it, and to try with few items, maybe something, a little selection, let's call it capsule collection, to really interest your consumer, your audience. Because if you don't have it, I'm not saying that you have to transform. It's very important the merchandising mix that you have in your line. As a retailer, as a designer, as a manufacturer, in theory, we should appeal to a large audience. It depends from the business that you're in. It depends from your consumer. You might have one specific consumer that might not be interested in that. Maybe you are mainly working with fluid core product and sentimental stories. And these are the name that I'm giving. It doesn't matter what kind of name you give. It's important that we understand the typology of product. That's important. The design direction, the atmosphere. And again, look at this, everything here, I mean, those are titanium and diamonds. Wrapping rings and the whole wrapping wave is very important. So it doesn't matter if you do it colored or yellow gold or white metal or platinum or whatever, but there are some directions that they're very interesting for consumer. So the whole wrapping around like snakes or fluid lines, they are popular and fascinating regardless of the design direction. Rainbow palette, for obvious reason. During the pandemic, we saw many rainbow, everything will be okay. So the everything will be okay, it became a flag for people, and rainbow, of course, is very dear to us to make us feel good. So right now, it's a very popular color association in the business. Fun messaging. We saw it before in sentimental story, the lettering, but as you can see now here, it's more fun. Once again, asymmetry. And look at this jewelry they are like components of our collection. I want to show you one thing and understand one thing. This assortment is all different people. These designers come from all over the world. They don't even know they are in this page. They don't even know they are in these slides. It looks like it's the same collection. What does it tell you? That the world is doing it. I didn't decide it. They are doing it without even talking to each other. And this is only an extract of what I brought you, just an extract. So how do we do this? We are an observatory, an independent observatory. People don't pay us for that. They don't even know they're here. We are an independent observatory. We collect collections from all over the world, from global brands to independent designer, to manufacturers from India, to Europe, to North America, all over the world. And what we do is we trace the thread, whatever puts them together, the fil rouge, whatever you want to call it, the main tendency of the market, the data, the statistic. So it's not by taste. Based on the number of jewelry, of pieces, of design that we see in that direction, it's relevant. We don't decide that. The world is deciding it. So the reason why I'm saying that is like, look, this is what's happening from Brazil to Canada to London to Italy. Okay? Now, is everybody doing it? Most of them are doing it all over the world. So keep an eye. It might not be for you yet, but keep an eye. And that's why I'm saying to you, look at the earrings here, asymmetric earrings. Look at the left, these two, the stud with the long earring. And you know what? You might maybe buy one piece and the other one, and maybe next time you're going to buy the two heart, and maybe you're going to mix and match. You might not. Look at this. And they make more money selling individually. That's the truth. Because if one earring is costing 500 or 100 or 200, and one set maybe is 150. The other earring, they might buy an earring that is going to be 100, or they're going to buy an earring that might be 300. And it will be a collectible, going back and forth. It's like it becomes your collector. And so it's happening for charms. So when you create collections, sell an idea, inspired by styling, inspire the look. Don't sell the jewels, sell the idea, sell the vision that you have on how Sell the wardrobe that then the consumer the client will purchase from you. And once again, men's jewelry, again, color and messages and mixing. And with this, I end my presentation, hoping that I left some information, some ideas, some concept for you that you can make it yours. Like I said earlier, not everything is for everybody, but I'm hoping to give you a methodology, a system, but most important, I wish that I can even give you a broader perspective of not just seeing our jewelry industry like that, but to see how we are impacted by our environment, by digital age, by civil rights, by socio-cultural shifting, by whatever. So, and these informations are important because they can be reflected on our social media, the way we communicate in our store, online, with our website. People don't just buy jewels. People want to buy the world around. And if you are able to sell what when we're talking about the storytelling, what is the storytelling? The storytelling is the service, is the vision that you are able to share with your consumer. So it was a pleasure being here. It was really an honor. It's my first time in Australia. It's a magnificent country. I love it. I love your attitude. Beautiful. Sydney is spectacular. I have nothing to say. I'm flying the day after tomorrow. I'm in Vicenza, the Vicenza Auto Show. And we look forward to have you around the globe, in Italy or whatever, US, wherever, next time. And I look forward to be back in Sydney. Thank you for having me.